Hello and welcome to my review of Batman Arkham Origins. Batman Arkham Origins is the third game in the fan-dubbed Arkhamverse, a prequel for the first two games before it, and the first to not be developed by series starters Rocksteady. For a game that takes place during one of Batman's most dangerous nights, one where 8 of the world's most deadliest assassins are hunting for him, this prequel plays it oddly safe. And as one might expect after a night of fighting thugs and escaping death traps, the younger Batman feels a little fatigued. I don't want to spend too much time on the gameplay, as it's essentially the same as the previous two games. Combat is fast-paced and fluid, and as it's always been, with Batman leaping across entire rooms to deliver a quick punch to the one guy still standing, with counters and cape flourishes being as necessary as ever. Likewise, the stealth portions are still as rewarding as they come, and hanging a guy from a gargoyle is still fun as heck. But aside from adding a few more enemy types, nothing really changes the combat. Origins feels a little too familiar to the overall better Arkham City. This is far from a complaint, as if you're going to lift mechanics from a game, you can do a lot worse than Arkham City, but this is just one of those places where fatigue really begins to show up. The combat, however, isn't the only aspect of the game that feels too familiar. A large part of Gotham City is ripped almost straight from the previous game, with the only major noteworthy addition to the city being an exorbitantly long bridge that connects the old part of the map to the relatively underdeveloped new additions to the game. There's a new fast travel system to the game, but using this requires the player to sit through a minute or so long loading screen designed as a repetitive cutscene, which honestly isn't all that much more attractive than just crossing the damn bridge. The whole city also feels eerily empty, especially for a major metropolitan area. Everyone you run into during the game is either a criminal or a cop, and while it makes sense for the game, and it worked in the previous games, what took place in prisons, it doesn't quite feel right for what's supposed to be a city. There's a lack of that sort of detail through the whole game, and it again contributes to the fatigue one feels playing it after the previous games in the series. It never feels like Gotham City we're gliding through as Batman, rather just another city full of crooks. The lack of polish also seems to have spilled into the game mechanically, though I played what I hear is the less glitchy Wii U version. I still had a number of freezes, lockups, and things not activating when they were supposed to. At one point in the game I had done everything necessary to unlock a door, only for it to stubbornly remain locked until after I had flown halfway across the city and come back. Context-sensitive cues such as takedowns and interrogations are also occasionally off, with Batman needing to be in a pixel-perfect position in order to grab a goon by his neck. Also, just a note from playing the Wii U version, this is the first game I've played for the system where the menu's on the TV by default and not on the controller. As I don't actually have a TV, and in fact played the whole game off TV, it took me a while to blindly navigate the menu system in order to activate the off-TV play, and it's something I had to do every time I would turn the game on to play it. One thing Arkham Origins does do very well is the story, primarily the interactions between Joker and Alfred and Bane and Batman. Being that everyone is younger, this game has the opportunity to show us how all these characters' incredible relationships develop. It really shows them in the raw. And there's some great scenes with Alfred having to come to terms with Bruce deciding that being Batman is what he wants to do with the rest of his life. And there's great tension between the two all game about this. Likewise, the first meetings between Batman and Joker take us through the Joker's transformation from just another psychopath in Batman's way to the Dark Knight's arch-enemy, and shows us just how Joker develops into Fashion Mason with the Caped Crusader. This is also the best Bane I've ever seen outside of comics, and until the very end of the game delivers on a villain who has the bronze brains, intimidation, and discipline to one day break the bat. I know I've been hard on Batman Arkham Origins through pretty much this whole review, but that doesn't mean I didn't enjoy the game. To the contrary, I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. However, my time with the game has done more to remind me how great Arkham City is, rather than make its own impression. In summation, Batman Arkham Origins is not a bad game, but it's no Arkham City. Batman Arkham Origins gets a 7 out of 10.